Hello again, everyone. Coming back at you today with another live. It'll be wonderful if people can join me live, but I understand that it is 1 p.m. Central on a Wednesday. So we're just going to get right into it. Today, I'm going to read a sample from my book, Sustain Your Author Career. And again, this is the book that I'm doing the Kickstarter for. So if you're wondering about the Kickstarter, you can go look up the video that I did yesterday where I talk all about it, probably way more than you need me to talk about it. But I tried to answer all the questions and kind of give a nice little tour. We are on the final week of it. So we have 2 days left, something like 50 hours. No, fewer than that now. But we are coming down the home stretch. So I just want to give you a little sample. And I picked this one probably because it's advice that I need to take today. This sample covers something that we're probably all dealing with, but when we look at building a sustainable career and we look at it through the lens of our Enneagram motivation, which is our fear and our desire, our core fear, core desire, um, it's not as easy as just, hey, here's what you do, start doing it. There are a lot of things that can come up that can derail us. And if it was easy, everyone would do it. But that doesn't mean that it's hard or it's impossible for anyone. It just means that learning a little bit more about the process of what it looks like to shift from sort of that hamster wheel that I know a lot of people feel like they're stuck on in publishing, moving from that into something more sustainable for your energy and something that has sort of flexibility built in for when the industry changes or when your life changes. So we're going to talk about that. I'm just going to go ahead and start reading. This is from section 5 of the book, Building Author Resilience. And this is the subsection on from motivating with fear to motivating with purpose. When you stop letting fear motivate your decisions and stop dipping into that fear-based adrenaline for energy to cross tasks off your list, you may find that you get slightly fewer things done each day. This is normal, and I encourage you to view it as a signpost that you're on the right track. The experience of decreased productivity is going to be especially frightening to 3s and likely also to 1s and 8s. What I ask, if you are one of these types and teetering on an existential crisis because of accomplishing fewer tasks in your day, is that you not immediately snap back into fear motivation. Sit with the discomfort of this transition and keep reminding yourself of the value of letting your digestive system, endocrine system, nervous system, circulatory system, and even your immune system rest after the long-term stress that's been putting them under so much strain. Notice the anxiety you feel about slowing down and where it's manifesting inside of your body. Watch it as an interested observer would, but remember that you don't have to let it take the wheel. And please, for a little while, resist the urge to go back to the level of activity you were doing before. If you can hold off on falling back into those fear motivation patterns, you will discover deeper sources of motivation blossoming from a healthier place inside of you. But you must give these new, more refined and mature sources of motivation space to unfurl. You must trust this process. You must let your body, mind, and heart reset to a sustainable rhythm. Motivating yourself through fear is not sustainable. Take a brief pause. Thankfully, I brought my tea with me, anticipating that Austin allergies were going to get me. Okay, back into it. There are things that can motivate us outside of our core fear and core desire. Things like a sense of purpose that will sustain us by being more durable than our fragile ego. But only once we commit to rejecting fear as our motivator do we create the space we need to connect to things like meaning and purpose in a deep enough way that they compel us forward. The energy of purpose is often not as intense as the energy we're accustomed to from fear. Our bodies are exceptionally sensitive to fear for obvious biological and evolutionary reasons. Adrenaline is a rush, as it were. You get flooded with it. Your alertness of your surroundings increases, and the blood rushes from your core to your limbs. The same thing happens when we put ourselves under chronic stress, and it can become such a familiar state that interrupting that cycle can make us feel incredibly low on energy for a while as we endure a crash. This crash isn't limited to physical energy. It can take our mood and drag our thoughts down with it. So we must be mindful that we're experiencing a crash so that we don't believe the moods and the accompanying thoughts. They are simply chemical reactions associated with kicking our adrenaline habit. If we anticipate this crash, it's easier to detach ourselves from the negative thoughts that can accompany it and take proactive measures to alleviate some of the effects. Taking no measures at this point is letting the plane crash. But there is another option. Understanding that the rapidly decreasing elevation is unavoidable, we can take steps to land the plane smoothly and safely. We can be proactive about doing healthy things for our bodies that will keep the chemicals like serotonin, dopamine, and endorphins from crashing and burning. Consider focusing on building a healthful diet during this time. Choosing foods rich in vitamins and minerals while avoiding foods that we know tank our energy even further is an important step and an act of deep self compassion. This is going to be easier said than done as crashes in adrenaline and cortisol send signals to our body to load up on sweets. If giving into these cravings were a crime, I'd admittedly be on death row by now, though I will say that the more times I choose a healthful alternative, the easier the choice becomes to do it the next time. To be clear, I'm not telling you to launch into a juice cleanse or go vegan or start on keto here. Radical changes are probably the last thing you need as you make this transition away from fear. But when you are deciding what to make yourself for dinner, you could start by asking what the most nurturing thing for your body would be in that moment. You probably already know that a double Whopper and a salmon fillet with sauteed spinach do not carry equal health benefits. Providing your body with what it needs to be healthy is a loving act, not punishment. And sometimes just eat the Whopper. In other words, all those basic dietary recommendations from your doctor about eating more vegetables and healthy oils and fiber and avoiding processed foods, actually follow them when you're anticipating the adrenaline crash of shifting away from fear-based motivation. During this process, we can also be proactive by putting time in our schedule for gentle exercise. Hard workouts can increase cortisol levels, which is what we're trying to let decline in a gentle way. So, if you've been exercising like the devil's chasing you with a hot poker, consider temporarily transitioning to something gentler for your body, like going for long walks, yoga, or even Tai Chi. And finally, as you approach this motivational transition, look honestly at the sleep you're getting. I think I wrote this section to me this week. Um, Poor sleep or not enough of it puts every system in your body under stress, which puts you at great risk of reverting to fear-based motivation just to keep yourself awake with adrenaline. So clearly it's not as simple as stop letting fear motivate you, although I wish it were. It's tricky to decompress from the usual stress levels you're used to. It takes time and trust, and unless you support yourself with healthy practices around food, exercise, and sleep, and ask those around you to support you in it, you may find yourself feeling so low that you aren't willing to stick with the process. All right, so that's the section I picked out because I clearly needed to hear it this week. so thanks for listening. And again, if you want to support the Kickstarter, that's just one small section of a much larger book, a book that got very, very large on me very quickly. You can go to kickffs.com. That's where the Kickstarter is. And let's see, what are we up to right now? Got to reload this. We are up to $22,623. We're about $3,400 away from hitting the next stretch goal. And we have 51 hours left as of recording this live. So if you want to go back or share this video or share any of the stuff I've been posting with people who might want to back, I'd really appreciate that. To help get the word out, I can only do so much. And thanks for listening. And if you have any questions about that section, any comments, feel free to leave it as a comment on this video. All right. I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday, or depending on where you are in the world, your Thursday. Bye, y'all.